Welcome back to the channel, and we are back in Squamish checking out some new trails and a new bike. Today we are on the Commencal Meta V5. This is a new all-mountain trail bike from Commencal with 150 mils of rear wheel travel and a 160 fork, 29-inch wheels, and it's ready for what you can throw at it. And Squamish has a lot to throw at it. So I'm gonna take this down some trails, trying to not fall off this bridge, and see how things go. I get a lot of comments about reviewing less expensive bikes, and the truth is that's not my choice. Most brands' bikes are just kind of more expensive, and if you're going to demo it, they're going to give you a fancy demo. I was surprised Commencal, which is a little bit more affordable brand, being direct to consumer, actually gave me a pretty affordable bike. So this is the $4,000 SLX build, on sale right now for $36,000. However, I would definitely check out a step up or so. They have some Olin's builds and some Fox factory builds for insane prices. But first, see what I think of this bike and this new suspension. I did review the Tempo a little bit ago, and it has the same suspension, so I can say that at least on that bike, it was quite good. I don't know how it's going to handle at 150, but we'll have to see. Overall though, it's an aluminum bike with a virtual pivot platform, so they should be able to make a bike that climbs super well, descends super well, and isn't bouncing around when you don't want it to. Today we're on the Commencal V5. This bike's on loan from Commencal Canada and is a pretty entry-level build. Originally about $4,000. These guys are on sale for $3,600. Full SLX drivetrain, some performance level suspension from Fox, that aluminum frame, some nice DT Swiss rims laced to some pretty basic formula hubs. Some of my favorite stoppers, those SLX, they feel just about as good as the XTR, and I think as good as the XT. Good rubber too. That's always super important up here with all the rock. You got that max grip on the front, mini DHR2, and a max tear on the back with the double down casing. So that's something I like to see. Not enough brands do that. KS dropper and some in-house handlebar and stem. Gotta love these ODI long neck grips too. Yeah, this is their 150, 160 bike. Really do everything trail bike with 29-inch wheels. I'm real excited to get it on the trail and see what it can do. All right, so after some moderately torturous climbing, how's this Commencal Meta get up? Well, I mentioned in an earlier video about the Stump Jumper, the new Stump Jumper 15, that we are approaching peak trail bike. And while this doesn't compete on every level with the likes of that bike or the Trek Fuel EX or even the Evil offering, where it really matters, it's close. So when we're talking about body position, this is it. Like, this is that body position. It's not too upright, maybe slightly more upright than the Trek or the Evil, but your butt is not too far over the rear tire and causing things to bounce around when you're hitting stairs or all of these routes. On to efficiency. Wow, that is a place that this bike does really well. It's gonna take a hit because of the weight, but overall efficiency is pretty great. And traction on, say, this wet log, it's good, it's there, it's plentiful. Oh. And yeah, it's plentiful. And lastly, switchbacks. Well, because of that great body position, nice efficient suspension and traction, this bike's gonna get a 5 for that as well. So what's that climbing score look like? Well, you get a 5 for body position. I'm gonna have to give it a 3 for efficiency just because of that weight, as well as this creaking, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. A 4 for traction, maybe a 5, but I'm gonna say 4. And a 5 for switchbacks. Let's get into the fun stuff. As I mentioned before, this is hot tuna. Trail Forks says this is an expert level jump trail with some double black features. So we're gonna take it easy, see how it goes. Seemed like fall hit last week and things got wet and cold, but it looks like summer's already back, so that's nice and should help the conditions a bit. Man, it's dark in this forest. So how's this thing descend? For a 150, 160 bike, the Meta V5 takes on steeps and chunk like a champ. Riding all kinds of bikes from different brands and different amounts of travel, I'm impressed when I can just hop on a bike and feel confident. I've never ridden hot tuna, and I didn't second guess anything on the trail. The rear end gets out of the way nearly as good as the Forbidden Druid, and the suspension stays active even when hard on the brakes. On jumps and drops, the super low standover makes the Meta nearly as playful as the Evil Offering, but the slacker head angle and longer rear end add a level of stability. The low standover has a similar effect on cornering, and while the flex in the rear end is noticeable, it still had a more confident feel than the new Stump Jumper 15 with those lightweight wheels. I only dropped a point because of the terrifying noise it made when slammed into berms. That gets us to the Loam Score. The Meta V5 is near the top for most of what I'm looking for, but I had to take away a few points for that creaking. Finally, for the value and quality, I gave it a 4 for value. It could easily achieve a 5, but it's like when you find something that's a good deal but you don't really need it. If there's something wrong and not fixable, then the value proposition really falls off. Lastly, quality is where things look the worst. The bike has a nice finish and good looking hardware, but the hardware is a bit hard to access, and the creaking is a huge issue that it would seem even Commencal is having trouble remedying. All right, we got more double black coming up. Smooth as butter, baby. All right, in and out burger board the Commencal Meta V5, and go, go. Oh yeah, who doesn't love Maxxis rubber? Now I gotta climb back up. Who's this bike for? Any trail rider on a budget or not, if Commencal can fix that creak. It doesn't have all the modern features like in-frame storage, and the press fit BB isn't something I'd expect to find on current bikes, but I do like that it's ready for a 200mm rotor without an adapter, and the geometry is about as up-to-date as it gets. I'd say it's the all-mountain trail bike for riders with a bit rougher terrain that don't want to go full enduro. Final thoughts. Commencal assured me they have a solution for the creaking in the form of spacers for the rear end. They just hadn't had time to install. That's good to hear, but it's a bit suspect that the bike was going out in this kind of shape and seems to imply that it's not an easy fix. Bike prices have gotten gnarly, and if Commencal can iron out the issues, the Meta V5 is an outstanding value. I love the way the Meta rode, but I can't stand a creaky bike. Commencal claimed they'd fixed the issue on the Meta SX, so I'm keen to give that a go, and I'll get back to you guys if they fix it. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't. New videos drop every Friday with bonus trail rides on most Tuesdays. If you need anything for yourself or your ride, check out Jensen USA or the other links in the description. These brands help support the channel at no additional cost to you. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or you want a specific comparison. See you next week. All right, Miki's Magic. A little blue jump trail. And some nice jumps in on this ride. Ah! Stung by a bee. Oh. Ow, it still stings. All right. Well, we're still rolling. That was definitely a double black option. This is a pretty fun trail. I would do this again. I do love how this bike and that tempo jump so lively in the air. These really low standovers allow you to get your knees over the top tube. Yeah.